What's going on, everyone? I'm Nathan, and the results of the straw poll are in. And looks like we're basically going to be playing Jeskai Geist forever. So if you wanted me to play anything else ever, it's not going to happen because more people want me to play Jeskai Geist than even watch the video where I asked. So, no, I'm kidding. Obviously, there's been a little, how should we say, misplay, something nefarious going on, and I'm going to credit a viewer by the name of Dustin, who has gotten a little creative with the fact that I didn't include any type of, I guess it's called CAPTCHA authentication. So you could just write a script or something to vote on this as many times as you wanted. And as much as I am a fan of Jeskai Geist, or anybody who would use some automated processes to try to influence some voting results so that we play more Geist, I think that the actual winner here is going to be Blue Moon, which I'm happy about because that was the deck that I was excited to play. So let's flip over to, come on, Blue Moon. This is more or less, I believe, the list from the Pro Tour that I think his name is Jason played, and I thought it was awesome. But as awesome as it is, I think we can assume that he made some metagame calls. Things like all these burst lightnings, and maybe the number of Electrolyzer, Pia, and Kieran's or cryptic commands. Now, I've done a little bit of paper testing against Eldrazi and against Tron, and it's actually kind of interesting because it's a deck that can, because of the Blood Moons, it's a control deck that can go toe-to-toe with Tron, because you can really make the fight about keeping the Blood Moon on the table. You can really shut down their engine. It doesn't mean that they couldn't win, but they certainly can't take advantage of all the mana and Eye of Ugin, things like that. So, things that I think I would change in this deck. I'm not sure that I want 3 Pia and Kieran. It actually has been really good with Batterskull. The fact that you kind of have a creature that you can make a 6/6 out of, or even by making a 5/5 with one of the Thopters is pretty sweet. And I think that the other thing is I think we may want some number of roasts. So everything else I think I'm more or less okay with. I don't know that we need... so some things to consider, like Engineered Explosives is a sweeper that the deck can run, besides Anger of the Gods. And one thing I think I will check really quick is I heard that the guy was going to write an article over on MTG Mint Card, and he may have provided some information on how he might change the deck. So I checked really quick to see if he had posted an article, and he hasn't, but I also looked up his name to give the guy credit where credit is due. His name is Jason Chung. So some of the things I think I would change in the deck, and I don't want to play it in an open meta as it is because I do think some of the card choices are obvious. Like, we know there's big creatures in the form of Siege Rhino and Tassigers and Gurmag Anglers and Tarmogoyfs and things like that. So I think having some number of roast makes complete sense. And I think having them in the main is probably fine. Burst Lightning as sort of burst in a field where you know it's going to be a bunch of small creatures, kind of like they expected at the Pro Tour, Affinity, and maybe Infect. I think Burst Lightning, sort of as Lightning Bolt 5, 6, and 7 is fine. And I don't know that Burst Lightning necessarily, I don't know that we necessarily want this to be another roast or to be a third roast. Maybe a third roast could make the side. But something I kind of want to try out is this. Now, Forked Bolt is really bad against Eldrazi, but, well, it's bad against their big creatures. You might have the chance to pick up some silent tokens. It's reasonable against Infect, and it's good against Affinity. Now, another thing regarding our threats, I think we need to find room for a Keranos in here somewhere. I think Batterskull is going to be fine in the main, but it might not be something we want to be all in on against something like Jund or Grixis decks that might have the opportunity to call against Command It, which would be pretty miserable. Now, it's too, one thing is if we were going to be all in on Batterskull, we kind of need to run Academy Ruins as a one-off. But since we're also heavily on the Blood Moon plan, I don't think that we can do that. Now, I think Peter and Kieran is great with Batterskull, great against a lot of decks. It's good against an aggressive field, and Keranos might not be the best against a bunch of aggressive decks. But in a deck like this, I really like it if you get to a point where you feel like the board is stable. Like if you have a Cryptic Command in your hand and a Keranos and you're on 5 mana and you've already been playing the control game, you can pretty confidently slam Keranos knowing that you can deal with whatever they might be able to play with your Cryptic Command because you can just bounce something and then kill it after the fact or whatever the case may be. And when you're playing a control deck, sitting on a Keranos against many decks is practically just GG. You're going to be able to manage the board, you're going to draw a bunch of cards, you're going to also have a win condition. So I also would question for Blood Moons, the thing is, like, against some decks you're going to absolutely want 4. And I think that maybe if we keep the 4th, it needs to find a spot in the side. But against other decks, it's just a dead draw, like against Mono White Death and Taxes, for example, or against Elves or Merfolk. It just effectively does nothing. So in that case, I would feel bad about having so many in the deck. So maybe we need to look at something like let me see here. Maybe we need to look at something like taking out the 3rd Batterskull for a Keranos. And I think Batterskull is awesome, but we have to acknowledge that, in the Magic Online meta, we're going to play against a lot of different decks. Keranos might be something we want to have access to. And then also, we have to decide if we want to run the 4th Blood Moon main or not. Now, I don't want to change his list too much, but I think that, then again, like if this is what our plan is, then it's unfortunate that we'd have so many against decks like Merfolk or stuff like that, but it just kind of is what it is. We know that going in. So I'm also, I guess what I'm getting at is I'm also game to sort of just try it. It's a good time to take a look at the meta, so let's take a look. Okay, it's been a couple days since I've looked at this, so we're starting to see the Colorless Eldrazi deck. So against come into play, I was just jumping ahead of myself saying, so let's see what decks that we think we'd want to keep Blood Moon in against. I think it's a yes, I think it's a yes, I think it's a yes, I think it's probably a yes. Shutting off Inkmoth Nexus is and Blinkmoth are no joke. Obviously yes, no, obviously yes, obviously yes, obviously yes, yes, yes. It might not be great against ad nauseam because they can still crack Lotus Bloom, and then obviously yes. So looking at the meta, there's only at least in these top decks, there's only one deck that we for sure don't want it in against. So maybe 4's fine. If we just look at a bit more here, there's the blue-red Eldrazi deck, which is a yes. Yes to Boggles, yes to Jeskai Control. Yeah, so I think running 4 is fine. And the other important thing to remember is Blue Moon, in a very real sense, is one of our biggest card advantage engines in that we have the ability to turn off potentially all their spells with that one card. So for that reason, it's probably actually smart and worth it to go ahead and keep 4 in. So I'm going to record this video set, and at least starting today, in two different times, because it's well, you can see the time there. It's 12:09. I have lunch with my wife, and I absolutely do not want to be late to lunch with her. So I'll probably end the discussion here for now, and then you won't see the time transition, but I'll come back later and then add on to it, and we can start playing some games. So let's take a look at that meta just one more time. Affinity Burn, Jund, Infect. Tab. Oh, I see. So I think that all this is pretty fair. Against Jund, obviously we have Blood Moon and Spreading Seas. I think Engineered Explosives is pretty good on 2 against Jund, something to consider. Keranos is obviously good against Jund. Batterskull, I mean, you know, if we're trying to say bring in, you know, I could see running a Batterskull if we plan on playing it later and maybe having Dispel backup, but I also just don't know that I like that plan. P and Kieran's great against Jund. Keranos will be good. Maybe even Batterskull, like, we could get blown out. Roast is good. So, and then even Electrolyze, I mean, we may have to it doesn't kill a lot, but may be able to kill a Dark Confidant or combine it with a Bolt to kill Goyfs. Cryptic Command's going to be great. Yeah, you know, I'm not going to change too much because I haven't played the deck a whole lot, and we'll learn as we go. So this will be what I play here, and I'm looking forward to it. Yep, so that's about it, guys. Well, I don't have to say thanks for watching or anything, because when you see this, I will just suddenly jump into a game. So I'll be back shortly. Talk to you. Okay, so I'm back. And something I realized while I was gone at lunch was there was a card that I really wanted to try, and that was Kozilek's Return. I believe it was Alessandro Del Gobo, maybe was his name. Alejandro, I can't remember the exact name, but he had pointed out something that I didn't even realize about Kozilek's Return, is that it is colorless. So something, in addition to it being an instant, which is already compelling because it's a sweeper that can kill manlands, the fact that it's devoid and has no color means it kills Etched Champion, and it also kills Master of Waves. And I believe Affinity is still the #1 played deck right now. Let me see. Yeah, still Affinity, so that might be a good enough reason to run it. Obviously, against Abzan Company, Anger of the Gods is better. But we do have a lot of removal and cards like Is It Static Caster that can help us kind of Kitchen Finks and things. So I feel like there's reasons to run both, but Kozilek's Return is a new card, and it's something I want to try. The other thing I'm wondering is if we should maybe do this, since we're kind of and actually, I almost want to put another Keranos somewhere in here. That way we can be on the either Keranos or Batterskull. I guess one reason to do either or is that obviously Keranos is legendary. So, but maybe I'll do this just that way. The matchups with Batterskull more. We can swap it out, things like that. I don't really see any reasons to change anything else at the moment. It's a deck I've only played very little bit, so have a lot of learning to do with it, a lot of experimentation. So I can't really approach this from a knowledge perspective. Now, one side note, I know all of you would rather see Eldrazi matches, and actually I put out a tweet on Twitter asking if anybody had blue, red, or colorless and would like to help me do some play testing, because I'd really like to generate some meaningful information. But I would also like to feature some play videos. So if anybody has those decks and would like to make some videos with me, then put a comment here or get in touch with me on my Facebook page. And again, if you don't know how to get to various things, if you just go to greatnate.com, that'll have links to all my social media stuff, and probably just the easiest way to get around. Or to find stuff like that. So anyway, oh, this is kind of funny. I did consider Aether Spouts, only because it's kind of interesting, but I don't think it's something I feel compelled enough to try right now. I guess because we don't have a sweeper for the big creatures, and this would also be kind of interesting against, say, Boggles or something like that. So anyway, I feel like I've just sort of theory crafted and chit-chatted enough. I'm anxious to give this deck a try, so I will see you guys in a minute. While I'm waiting, actually, I just wanted to put a reminder out there. I've officially started doing my collaboration with the Spike feed in video form. And so my Jeskai Power Mentor videos, I'm just making a Spike feed exclusive. I'm just going to leave them over on their YouTube channel to help them get started and get some traffic going. And I'm going to put a link in the description of this video over to that playlist so you can see all of the Jeskai Power Mentor videos. But show those guys some love and go check those videos out. And please subscribe to their channel. They're going to be posting more legacy content, and I will be posting more content there. And if you don't already, check out the spikefeed.com so you can follow their podcast. They do great work. And as soon as I get a league match, we'll be playing games. Still waiting, and I was just thinking the other downside, by the way, to Kozilek's return is, it's something I thought about at the time, but I forgot to mention it, is that there is some number of like zoo decks out there, and obviously Kozilek's return is not nearly as good against Wild Nacatl. So also something to consider, but like I said, I want to try the spell. So I'm not going to like theory craft and then talk my way out of trying something that also has a very compelling upside. Just give it a try and see how it works out for us. And still waiting. And we have a match. Excuse me. Itchy nose. Definitely keeping this. It's got early counter spell. It's a Spell Snare into Mana Leak into Blood Moon. I can get behind that. So we're keeping. Alright, well, we wanted to see it. Here it is. Too bad we didn't go on the play because it would have been sweet to Spell Snare this thing. Alright, well, we put our roast in there for their bigger dudes. So maybe he's got another Mimic that we can Spell Snare. That would be nice. Or it's just like a Thought-Knot Seer. Yup. Okay, so we're going to be losing our... we will be well, I would say we're going to lose the Blood Moon, but he may just take the roast. Now, if we were on the... I do want to point out, had we been on the play, we would have been in great shape. We would have Spell Snared the Eldrazi Mimic, we would have Mana Leaked the Thought-Knot Seer, and then we'd be untapping and playing a Blood Moon. It's kind of interesting how much further behind we feel now. That how much further behind we feel because we were just not on the play. But I mean, that's to be expected with the deck as fast as this deck is, or has at least the potential to be. Okay, so I mean, I think we have to roast. Oh wait, he took the roast. That's right. So we just... let's see. I mean, this could get real ugly. I want to get another island anyway, so play the Misty Rainforest. Cavern of Souls would be bad. I think we have to let this resolve. Because he could easily just play another land and then play a larger creature. Which actually, the kind of the sad thing here is by playing this Misty Rainforest, this 1 point of life does make a difference. Um, well, I mean, we can Spell Snare this, and then we're not, if we don't fetch here, we're technically not dead to this attack. But we are dead to the Mutavault as well. So if we go like Mountain, go down to 8, then we at least take 8. So yeah, there's not a way, I don't think that there's really a way out of this for us. We don't have a removal spell, we can't play Pia Kieran, so yeah, I think it's fine to just pack it in. That was a quick game. But at least we get to be on the play now. Okay, so here, let's see. I think Anger of the Gods and Causal X Return are both reasonable. Maybe, is it Staticaster? I definitely think we want to bring in the Spreading Seas. This is good against the Scion, so in the colorless version, this might not be as good. I think we probably want the other Batterskull. Karanos is debatable. Let's see. We obviously don't want the Forked Bolt. Let's see. Electrolyze, I think, is less good. Spell Snare, it does hit the Mimics, and it can hit an early Chalice. That might be reason enough to keep it in. My initial reaction would be to take it out. But I think these are okay. I think I can probably trim here. I mean, they do have targets. Let's see. It can kill. I know some of their things have like 1 toughness, those mimics. So this can still be good. I don't know that we necessarily. I don't know if we went 3. Definitely want all this permission. What don't I want? I don't really want to trim on the bolts because I feel like if I start trimming on the bolts, then I just can die very easily to his early stuff. Maybe the spell snares aren't fantastic. We could trim one of those. Maybe trim an Electrolyze because we are bringing in sort of things that deal with multiple creatures. Maybe we don't want Batterskull, or Karanos. Maybe it's too important to just start stabilizing in our life total. And then 61 cards. Maybe it's just this other Electrolyze. Because we can trim a bolt, there is things that it just isn't going to kill. That might be incorrect though. We may really need those for maybe maybe it's just maybe we just leave 1 spell snare in. All right, let's give that a try. I mean, it depends how. If he has turn 1 Chalice, spell snare could be quite good. All right, we'll play first. I'm gonna keep this. Like, I don't have the counter magic that I'd like to have, but we have a draw here for whatever land we get to hit on turn 2. So this hand's pretty sketchy, actually. Yeah, I'm gonna roll with it. I'm still learning the deck. May completely regret it though. It just really depends, I guess, on how explosive his turn is. I've tested this deck myself in very limited capacity, and you do have to mulligan aggressively for your Eldrazi lands. Or your soul lands, rather. Right, I had hit, I think I may have just hit F2 too many times or something. Anyway, so let's see here. Mutavault into turn 1 Chalice, no, okay. Is that a good enough Spreading Seas target? I don't know that it is, but I don't just want to sit here on our mana doing nothing. Like, I'd much rather hit I, but then I'm just kind of like sitting on this. I'm not. It's going to be. I think it can be difficult to deploy everything that we want to deploy later if we're just sitting on that. So, now that we have Leak, though, I am going to sit on this Mono Leak. Hmm. I'm going to let this resolve because I would really, really like to kill both of these with an Anger of the Gods. It may be asking too much. Because this represents 5. But we're going to get a crack at another land with whatever he plays here. This is kind of what I was saying, like, if we didn't play this Spreading Seas, then... So, Thought-Knot Seer... Let's see. I think I'm okay to just remand this, actually. So he's going to have to Thought-Knot Seer to try to make this larger, and I countered... Maybe it's better to just, like, Bolt and Mana Leak. We're not really getting the value that we wanted out of Cryptic Command, so could have possibly sequenced this a little incorrectly. The other option is that we Cryptic... You know what? Actually, I know what I want to do. I want to Cryptic and tap just so we don't take the damage. Although, I mean, it is just 5. Maybe that's okay. And if we counter draw, let's see. If we counter draw, take 5. Interesting that he's willing to go through his main phase here. If that's the case, then maybe I do want to bolt this guy. Oops. Yeah. And then I'm going to mana like this. Alright, so I think we can take 2 again, and Cryptic counter draw something, and if he doesn't play anything, then we'll just bolt this. I really want to draw another land. Really want to draw, well, because then we get our Battle Skull in line, but obviously we open ourselves, we have Anger then as well. So is this just a really large, endless one? So we could counter bounce. I'm going to counter draw. I mean, we go to 7, it's not the end of the world. So he can play Reality Smasher. I think what we want to do before we play this actually is just go ahead and Spreading Seas something. Probably this Urborg. I don't know if that changes. Maybe this just, maybe if I Spreading Seas Urborg, does it just make it a swamp island? I could also Spreading Seas the Wastes, which actually I think that's what I'm going to do. That way if I draw Blood Moon later, then this may really cut him off. Could have drawn a Blood Moon there as well. Okay, so I'm going to pass with Leak and Bolt Up. Yeah, so I was definitely 100% right in being worried about Reality Smasher. Okay, so now I think I do want to go ahead and play Batter Skull. if he like plays a Reality Smasher, then we don't even have to block it. He'll tap out more or less to do it, and he'll knock us to 2, and we can attack back, going up to 6, and then roast the Smasher. Okay, so our bolt is turned off. Definitely going to play the Blood Moon. Just trying to think what order to do these things in. Well, we can't anger, so alright, so that works out because now we're just going to Blood Moon here. And pass the turn back. So unless he draws another wastes, I guess he doesn't have a wastes. Just I guess a giant endless one. Alright, so let's see. So I mean, we can attack into it. He'll block. We can roast it. That's one option, and that also lets us bounce the Batter Skull back to our hand at the end of his turn. The thing is, we don't actually then have a counterspell. But maybe that's okay. We could also just bounce Endless One and bash again. We could bounce draw and then sort of do the same thing. I guess that's actually not... I think that's okay. I'm going to go for that. It pads our life total a bit, kind of wastes this turn. We get to draw, and we really still need to hit another red source. If we draw another... Is he just casting it for more? Yeah. Okay, so I was going to say if we draw another land of any kind, we can actually snap bounce it, which I don't hate either. Alright, so now I think we attack into it and roast it. So remand would be sweet. Like, it's really annoying that this was not actually the land that we needed, and it's been a while since you've drawn another land, because being able to right now snap remand would put us in a much better position than we are about to be in. But we do still have the potential to, well, so now we can't bounce. So we are going to return here. Let's see. So that's interesting. So I think what we do is we play Batterskull. We let the Endless One attack past us. Oh, we can't bounce twice, though. I was going to say we could snap, cryptic, bounce, snap back to our hand, but I can't bounce. I can't select bounce as both modes. Because I could then maybe end of turn bounce this Endless One. Alright, so he may have another spell to play. But I think we just have to hope it's not another Endless One. Oblivion Sower is big game. Alright. So there is another red source. So if we play Steam Vents, we can attack, he'll block, we can snap roast again. Then we can pull Batterskull. The other option is we could just Pia here. Let's see. It's complicated. All right. So I'm going to play Pia and Kieran with the intention of trying to get Batterskull onto Pia and Kieran. Do I attack? No, I don't attack yet. Alright, so Okay, so we're gonna block. Doesn't really matter where, because we can't kill either of them. So yeah, I want to equip Batter Skull. Let's see, that's 6, 7 here. And then we can block the Endless one and kill it. And then, let's see. And then I think we can try to find a way to deal with this Oblivion Sower. Batter Skull is definitely good at screwing with combat math. If I could cast this bolt, he's effectively at 7, which means these two are lethal. Let's see how he attacks here. Alright, so I'm just going to pass, actually. We're at 26. We don't have to do anything this exact second. We can kind of hold up Snapcaster Mage Cryptic Command, and we can even get Snapcaster Mage down to equip to the Spatter Skull at some point. So let's see. I'm going to do Snapcaster Mage. It could also have Dismember. But we have enough mana to, I think, pull Batter Skull back. And we have so much life to work with. Targeting Cryptic Command. I know that I'm like really running down my clock. Talking doesn't help, but I'm just trying to learn as we go here. Cryptic, do this and draw a card. I'm going to do this in case I draw another bolt. Did not. Let's see. Yeah, I'm just going to shoot a bullet at him. Play this, equip here. 2, 3, 4, 5. And then attack and electrolyze. That's kind of weird. Where did his board go? I don't know. Oh, it's. I see it. That's kind of weird how that looks. What were we drawing? Oh, another bolt. Okay, so just kind of scraped one together there. Which actually, like, once... Oh, I didn't mean to reveal my hand. The sideboarding. He probably had already went sideboard and didn't see it. Once we were sort of able to kind of sort of turn the corner there, start gaining life, we were able to string something together. Excuse me. Chalice is certainly annoying. Kozilek's Return did not look great. Although it could have just been like when we saw it, right? Like it still has the ability to... It can take out a couple of endless ones, not endless ones, whatever the 2-1 is, and the 3-2, although the 3-2 unfortunately they sort of like... That's... I think if we exile them, then they don't die and they don't get their little card advantage trigger. So maybe it's fine, but maybe I wonder... I don't know if Spell Snare is better than Click. And Click I normally wouldn't think is great, but Click could also wear a Batterskull and be a flying thing, which is actually something that a Thopter could do as well. So that's... I don't really think Click is what we want here. I mean, that destroys Chalice. I guess this is fine. Yeah, I think this is... I mean, there's the potential that we get stuck in the same predicament we were in earlier. I'm still going to keep this hand. If he has like a turn 2 Chalice, then Spell Snare will be okay. What did he mull down? He's at 6. Okay. Just opening the Exile Zone to see if a Simian Spirit Guide immediately gets tossed out there. Urborg. Turn 1 Chalice, turn 1 Chalice, turn 1... Okay, so now I... Yeah, we'll Mana Leak there. So I can trade one whole Pia and Kieran for this Endless one. So in order to do this most efficiently, Rainforest will need to get a Steam Vents. The thing is, I'd like 2 Serum Visions this turn, because it's really likely we're going to take 4. This is... So I have to... My options are... and I can't really I can't spell snare before I fetch. Yeah, I think I just have to pass. I can't visions. Like taking 3 off this Misty Rainforest is like almost like this attacking again. So at this point, all I can really hope for is to just have him play something I can spell snare. He didn't play anything, which is interesting. Maybe he's sitting on like Dismember. All right, let's go for Pia and Kieran. And I mean, I will trade off, assuming that I get the opportunity to. I will. No, we're getting dismembered. Okay, so now the question is, do we take 4 so that we can kill this with an Electrolyze? I'm willing to. Could be mistaken, but well, that's pretty gross. Pretty gross indeed. I think we just need to Serum Visions and hope we draw something. I'm going to bottom those. I don't think those help us. 9. So we're not dead, but we're really close. Now Ratchet Bomb does kill his Endless One, so there is that. So what's the best way to block? I guess we just don't have to. Isn't this going to kill this, right? Am I wrong? Yeah? Okay. So we can Electrolyze for 5. So we did have another land we put on the bottom. Would we be able to, like, 1, 2, 3... No, we couldn't. No, that still wasn't going to work. Yeah, I mean, we got to take 5. Alright, so gonna electrolyze. Let's see, could we possibly regret that? I don't think so. Gonna electrolyze him so that we can draw a card. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So Bolt plus Batterskull does not kill Oblivion Sower, unfortunately. But I mean, it wasn't like it was a bad draw. So obviously we have to play it. And it's too bad our life total isn't a little higher so that we didn't have to block, but 8 toughness, how annoying. Interesting. I guess we have to play around Gut Shot, because what I'd like to do is not go to 1, but I don't want to get shot by a Gut Shot. The other option here was we could have untapped, attacked with Batterskull. He would have blocked, and then we could have done some shenanigans with Anger of the Gods to kill it. Alright, so if we attack, we go to 6. This dies. And we Anger of the Gods to put 7 and then Bolt Sower. I don't have a better idea. We only have 48 seconds left in the game anyway. So, I mean, even if we could have won this game, we are going to lose to time. But it's not like it's easy to play fast against a matchup that you've never really played with a deck that you never pilot. I do feel like there's game here, at least this colorless version. Like, we're kind of getting to that point again. He's got 1 card in hand. We have a Batterskull that we're going to start recurring. That's going to start getting us, you know, every time we gain more life, it's just worse for him from a racing standpoint. So it just sets him further and further back. There's like some little tiny part of my brain that's like, maybe we can win. But there's just no way. But I mean, you know, this whole thing is it's not to like, you know, I can't show you guys like perfect play with this deck because I can't play perfectly. I can't play perfectly with any deck, but certainly not a deck that I've never played. I don't know what he's doing. Maybe we'll heal timeout because he can't play his spells. You can undo that far? Okay. Seems weird. Okay, so he's not going to do anything? Okay, return to hand. Can't click fast enough. Okay, he's gonna try this again. Alright, dismembered. Oh wait. Whatever. This way, if we get reality smashed, we have a blocker. What can we do with 5 seconds? One second on the clock. This thing is happening again. He's doing a big thing. The big thing happens. He's searching. Okay. And he finds a Oblivion Cellar. Yeah, Oblivion Cellar would be difficult to get rid of, no doubt. Oh, we ran out of time. Okay, so if we had Serum Visions, we would have drawn a... Oh, it won't let us see. Well, okay, so clearly on my end, and you know, by the way, I apologize that match was so long. Like, I know that I told you guys this before, but talking and playing Magic Online slows me down so much. But that's, you know, that's part of making content. I'm not LSV, right? That guy just still manages to play like a maniac, even when he's talking. But obviously this is much different. I don't know the interactions, and obviously, you know, like last game there was some super kind of we had to think a lot to try to string something together. So yeah, you know, again, I hate making you guys watch so long. You know, I'd like for all my videos, like I'd love if every match could be under 20 minutes, but it is what it is. We got to face Eldrazi, and we didn't get our butts kicked, not by a long shot. I mean, yes, this game it was unlikely that we were going to. It could have gone either way, right? Like he wasn't going to block with Thought Not Seer. We were going to go up to 13. I wish I could see what's on top of our deck. But yeah, Oblivion Sower is annoying even with Roast. So maybe we want to think of an answer to that card. But yeah, so I think the deck is fun. It's fun to play a control deck. And it's nice to play one that feels so streamlined, just blue-red, straightforward. Wait, I saw something click here. No, I still can't. Alright, well, so 1-2 against Eldrazi. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll be doing it again soon. Thanks for watching, guys. Please like and subscribe, all that stuff. I really appreciate it. There's like... I forget how many views to the channel, but actually a relatively small percentage of everybody who watches is actually subscribed. So if you're watching this, if you made it this far, please subscribe. Alright, guys. Draw well, smash face, talk